We all heard the story how AI software development is eating up jobs. But will it also eat up the job of the software itself? What if AI will replace all business logic in our software code and just infer it instead of calculating it? Let's look at that. I believe AI will replace much of the software code itself eventually. And developing software right now is just a stepping stone to a new type of computing. It has to be when we have this semantic tool in our hands right now. Why do we even need to write this layer and this language for us to express model behavior, workflows, and conditions? If this, then that. That's how we used to think. But now with AI, we can just manage intent and expect certain output. Right now, when we want to add functionalities to our software, we write in manually every edge case there is. If this happened, then do that. And this can become quite complex and very much optimized for the user that the developer has in mind and their specific workflow. Take, for example, the productivity tool craze. Maybe you've noticed that people search for days to find the perfect tool that helps them with their workflow and their to-do list. And I have found myself in that as well. But what if software is not dependent on us putting in very structured data to have a repeatable expected output? And you know how much time it takes to use a productivity tool itself. You have to give it constant feed of data for it to give you data back. And for a productivity tool to actually be productive, you expect the software to return helpful information that actually gives you time back. Oftentimes that's not the case because software that we use all required structured data from us. May it be a form, the user that clicks on a button to select a mode, whatever it may be. But the shift could be that modeling the world and every intent the user might have is not the future, but that logic will be inferred and not calculated. Well, at first, the deterministic code that we write will still be needed, and it is much cheaper to run. But in the long run, inference will become very cheap, that's out of question, and it will not even matter if we run the intent through an AI. We still need to build up that trust and need to develop better models so that we really trust the model to give the desired output. But that problem will probably be solved in the future. And if we still need deterministic functions for security reasons, the AI could still decide at runtime to just create its own code. And what would happen to our user interfaces that we build and that we are so used to on our comfy little rectangle screens that glow? Well, our user interfaces are currently modeled after the deterministic static behavior that we wrote inside the code. But what happens when we now have this semantic machine that could get information from all kinds of sources? Our current user interface is optimized for just one action at a time. Selecting one tool, selecting item in a list. You do have multi-touch, but it's still just another modal of input. It doesn't increase the functionality itself that much. With AI, we would need to think about user interfaces themselves. This is a whole nother topic to think about how software itself will look like in this agentic AI future. But it's not hard to imagine that in the future, every pixel on the screen will be generated and not rendered. With today's software, every software we build is quite siloed. The logic itself can't jump between different contexts and set of data pools. We have built the concept of an API to bridge the gap between different software. And with Model Context Protocol, we now have a standard that is already more optimized for agentic workflows. and bridges the gap between different kinds of data sources. And we now have tools like Zapier to manually program automations between different tools. But the AI can just jump between tools and data semantically and decide for itself what it needs for the best outcome. And if we bring that vision to full fruition, we will have workflows that are not dependent on the UI of another app. It will be interesting to see how that works. And agents already start to live in that kind of future. AI will become the everything app. So what is software in the future at all? What is a computer? Software will probably come down to intent management. What will make software valuable in the future? Do we even need another tool that plugs into the AI if we have everything we need and want in ChatGPT version 7? I do believe that there will be still a lot of room to offer users workflow knowledge, efficiency, how much the user need to how much input is necessary of the user to get an expected outcome. And then, of course, taste and personalization. Different tools could offer different tastes and vibes. And then, of course, input modality. How do we input data and get data back? I'm so excited for what's going to come next. And I'm pretty sure you too. So you should subscribe to this channel. This is just a brain dump from me. I need to get this out. I think good things will come out of it if you think about this stuff too. So subscribe and see you in the next one.